What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to the $10,000 EIDL Grant Stimulus Update. Great news. It is Monday, March the 8th, 2021. Please do me each favor. Give this video a thumbs up, hashtag EIDL with your comments below, and if you'd like 5 pieces of really great news, give me the next 10 or 15 minutes to explain. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Loans are being approved. I've gotten over a dozen emails in the last 24 hours. You can see some of the screenshots right now on Reddit. Anyone who got an email from the SBA as of about 24 hours or so ago is now getting approved. You can see the screenshots on Reddit. They got $1,000 last year. It says approved for $9,000. The word on the street, I just called the SBA, the word on the street, this is not a guarantee, is Thursday or Friday is going to be the first batch of payments. So I don't know if that's true. Were they referring to this Thursday or Friday? I'm not sure. But I have seen with my own 2 eyes, and you guys have sent me, I've got enough screenshots now. I'm absolutely over the moon. Anyone who's gotten an email, I have yet to see anyone to get declined with respect to the targeted EIDL advance. Some of you are getting confused that you're getting declined for the loan. So if you've been declined for the targeted EIDL advance, you need to speak up in the comments. And if you're one of the people that I just saw, 2 of them 5 minutes ago, fantastic news. Tell us in the comments, have you been approved? Because like I said, in the last 24 to let's say 36 hours, they are starting to approve people that they were emailing as early as about, 6 weeks ago-ish? So if you're in a low-income community, or you're among the ones in the middle-income community that have gotten an email, or you applied between July and December 27 when the bill was passed, we are talking about $10,000, not $1,000 per employee, which is absolutely fantastic. All right, what are the other good news? I got 4 things of good news. I got to take a drink of water. Too much coffee today. I'm all jacked up. By the way, the video I did on Friday, 9 stocks to buy right now, half of them are up over 20% today. Today, you had all day. So if you're not subscribed and you didn't hit the bell, you're not getting alerted in real time. SYN was up at one point almost 30% today. Dogs at one point was up over 20%. AEZS, Allen, Edward, Zebra, Sam, I gave you that at 80 cents. It was at $1.17. That's almost 36% returns like that. So, look. The market's bottoming, more on that later. But I got 4 things that I got to share with you on why I think what just took place with respect to the $1.9 trillion deal that's going to pass the House tomorrow is actually a blessing in disguise. So first of all, I go by Remote Online on Twitter. I'm about to make a major splash personally with this new business that we're going to launch. I will have a massive following on Twitter. But right now, I've only got, 100 and some odd. But I have absolutely hammered Jacky Rosen, her chief of staff, Jorge Silva, Ben Cardin, John Cornyn, Chuck Schumer, President Biden, along with about a dozen other people. And I want to extend my major gratitude. I mean, this went on until 3 o'clock in the morning. And it didn't let up until today when Jacky Rosen finally came out. And I want to thank her for getting back to me this morning. Not her, the staff, etc. Here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. She made a mistake. And I scorched her for it on YouTube and on Twitter, along with about a dozen of you, and I thank you once again, when she came out with Jorge Silva. And even on her website, she said $15 billion in line with the EIDL Small Business Act, known as S4227. Well, that was a big mistake, and she knows it. Because you can't say it's in line when it's supposed to be 10 grand regardless of size or location. The only thing that was in line was $15 billion. So yes, it was deceptive, and trust me, I do believe she knows that to be true. So she came out within the last hour or so and said, basically, the fight's not over, and I'm going to explain why. This could be a major blessing in disguise with respect to the EIDL Small Business Act. So let me look at my notes, because I got so many good things I have to tell you, especially after yesterday's train wreck of a video. It's a very emotional time for everybody, including me. All right, shout out to Speak and See, who was the first to alert everybody to this. Within the last 24 hours, House Representative, Republican out of Miami, Maria Salazar, last Wednesday introduced a bill to extend or defer loan payments for a year. A lot of you have loan payments that are going to start coming due in the next couple of weeks. There's a bill now in the House led by Miss Maria Salazar. I'll get an article. It references all the other co-sponsors. It's got widespread bipartisan support. It would extend your payments out another year. And there's a bunch of quotes in there. Basically, your business has been demolished. You need more time to get back on your feet before you start making loan payments. And as Speak and See rightly pointed out in his video, and I've mentioned this several times before, if they defer payments out a year, what does that do? Well, that gives us a whole nother year to fight for loan forgiveness so you don't pay the SBA a single dime. And let us not forget, Big Ben Cardin, who now runs the Senate Committee for Small Business, now that they've thrown Marco Polo overboard, and rightly so, absolute disaster with respect to EIDL. He's a big PPP guy because he's in bed with the banks. But now that he's out of the way, we have someone that's in charge, Ben Cardin, a friend of this show, a Democrat out of Maryland. He wants to wipe out the EIDL loan altogether. Well, if this bill, Miss Salazar, gets through the House and eventually the Senate, and we get a whole nother year of not having to make payments, that's a whole nother year for myself and all the other channels to fight for loan forgiveness alongside guys like Ben Cardin, chairman of the Senate Committee for Small Business. All right. Yeah, can't even read my own writing. All right, Thomas Souzzi had a bill for my home state of New York, goes back to July the 2nd. In the House, lowering the interest rate to 1%. If you don't think that's a big deal, and this is going to make a resurrection here really soon, on a $150,000 loan, which was the cap from Miss You-Know-Who, I won't even mention her name, it just gets my skin to crawl. She capped him at 150. Well, if you go from 375 on a personal to a business, 275 to a nonprofit, over 30 years on 150 grand, that's a $76,000 savings on interest. On a $25,000 loan, going from 375 to 1%, if Thomas Souzzi's bill gets through the House and eventually the Senate, that's $16,000 of savings over the life of the loan. But again, we're going to fight for loan forgiveness. So if Miss Maria Salazar's bill gets through both houses, we will have a whole nother year, not only for you not to have to make payments, but to fight for loan forgiveness. All right. All right. Here's the deal. Here's the blessing in disguise. I'm putting two and two together, okay? The committees in the House in particular that wrote that behemoth of the bill known as $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, we're not going to allocate more than $15 billion to the EIDL program. They had pork projects all over the place. We know that. The most they were going to give out was $15 billion. Well, in the House, it was $15 billion for that $5,000 supplemental grant. In the Senate, they carved it up. $10 billion more for targeted EIDL advance for low-income communities. So now they have $30 billion. And in case you just crawled out from under a rock, within the last 24 or so hours, they're now approving a full $10,000. It's not $1,000 per employee. So somebody please tell me, Kevin, he was wrong. So, senior moment. All right, meet Kevin's wrong. Wrong. Right about a lot of things, wrong about that. Oh, the blessing in disguise. We don't edit around here, so if you're new, welcome to the channel. Raw, real, uncut, unedited, and a Dallas Cowboy fan. Fly, Eagle, fly. Go fuck yourself. We have now a blessing in disguise. They were going to limit the EIDL grants to $15 billion regardless, because always remember, there's a hidden hand behind the scenes. It's not Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Kevin McCarthy, etc. that writes these behemoths of bills. It's the hidden hand, the Wizard of Oz behind the scenes that works through the lobbyists, that tells those that are in committees what to say and how much to offer. Never forget that. These folks that you see on TV are nothing but pawns, and that includes the current and former president of the United States. The real money behind the scenes, mostly white men, very, very wealthy, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and folks like that, Putin, etc. They're the ones that are pulling the levers. They've got a bunch of minions that work through lobbyists, and they eventually work their way into the bills. $15 billion was all we're going to get. Now that the $1.9 trillion package is going to pass probably tomorrow in the House and become signed into law this week, Jacky Rosen, as she said on Twitter, I'll pin it in the top comment about an hour ago, she can bring back officially with a lot more co-sponsors the EIDL for Small Business Act known as S4227. And those that have been around know on July 10th of last year, she asked for $80 billion. $80 billion, 80 for the grant, another $100 billion for the loan. So instead of being capped at $15 billion in the most recent $1.9 trillion deal, now that that's out of the way, she can probably ask for somewhere in the middle. I'm going to predict right now she's going to go up to between $30 and $50 billion because, again, a lot of bills pass outside of the budget reconciliation process, including Miss Maria Salazar's, which is in the House to get you another year to make payments on the loan, giving us more time to get it forgiven. So here's the deal. This is very important. Pinned in the top comment for 2 months now is Karen Mills, former head of the SBA. She wants to get you 6 months of working capital and 10 grand regardless of size of the location. The current head as of last week was her protege, Miss Isabel Guzman. They're working together. So what's going to happen over the course of the next, let's call it 60 days, in my opinion? You have a shot at another year to make payments by way of Miss Salazar. You have a shot to get the loans down to 1% by way of Thomas Souzzi, my home state of New York. I'm now a resident of Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. You have EIDL targeted advance grants that are being approved in the last 24 to 36 hours. And because we didn't get to stuff the EIDL Small Business Act into this bill and get limited to $15 billion, Miss Jacky, Rosen, and John Cornyn are going to be able to ask for more money. And by the way, in that bill, they removed the loan caps at $150 and put them back at $2 million. So here's a perfect example. Let's assume that you're a restaurant or a small law firm. You did $1 million last year before the lockdown. The formula is, write this down, gross revenue minus the cost of goods or services divided by 2. That's what 6 months of working capital was supposed to be. Gross revenue minus the cost of goods or services, depending on your business, divided by 2. So if you're a restaurant doing $1 million a year and your cost of goods or services is 100 grand, that's $900,000 divided by 2. You should have got 450 grand. But you know who with the fancy scarves capped you at 150. So in the next 30 to 45 days, if the EIDL Small Business Act sponsored by Jacky, Rosen, and John Cornyn gets through both houses, you would get $450,000. So at a minimum, you would get another 300 grand. The 150 you already got capped at plus 300,000. But in my world, again, former head of the SBA, Karen Mills, her protege that now runs the SBA, Isabel Guzman, you might get another $450,000, which would be a total of what? 600 grand. So ladies and gentlemen, I know yesterday sucked ass. It still sucks ass if you're in middle or high income communities. But if we can get you another year to not have to make payments, lower the interest to 1%, you continue to watch your friends in low and middle income communities get approved and eventually paid in the next week or so, and we can get the EIDL for Small Business Act, known as S4227, through the Senate and ultimately the House, giving you another 6 months of working capital without any caps. And oh, by the way, 10 grand of EIDL grants, regardless of size or location. So until next time, always remember that I love you and thank you so much for watching.